Wow, it is cold today. Where did summer go? Always goes by so quick. Hi and welcome back to the Koi Perspective. Today I'm going to be taking you through some of my winter prep for the end of the year. I've had 2 new fish delivered from New Forest Koi in the post, and I'm going to take you through the year of this growing pond. You guys have probably watched this project from start to finish. If you haven't, you can go back and watch how I've built this pond, what products I've used, what filtration I've used. But I want to do a bit of a recap on what has and hasn't worked this year and what I'm going to be doing next year. And also I've got some fish in here that I'm going to be moving on, so stick around till the end of this video and you can see some fish that I'll have for sale as well. So yeah, it should be an interesting video, but let me take you back 2-3 weeks now from when I had some koi mail from Rick at New Forest Koi. He sent me 2 Shiros, which is a line that I really like, the Omasako bloodline that he uses down at New Forest Koi, and it's a line that I've been really wanted to experiment with for a long time. I've got 2 pieces in here that I'm going to be growing on all next year, so I'm really excited to bring you that content. So stick around, it's going to be a good video, and I'm going to be showing you how I'm going to use my balls to cover this pond. Today I'm unboxing some koi for the first time in a long time since I've had some delivered. These are going to be going in my testing tank for the next year. Last year I did my test on Nutrimare. I'm working on a new project to grow some more fish and almost like benchmark Nutrimare a little bit. So as part of one of my goals for the year was to actually try and grow some English bred koi to see if they really truly can keep up with the Japanese koi in terms of growth. So I've been speaking to Rick at New Forest Koi. He's got one of my favourite lineages in England, and that is with his Shiro Tsuri, which you'll see in a second. And he sent me up a couple of pieces just to have a bit of a play around with, and to grow and hopefully get some good koi out at the end of it. So I'm excited. Let's unbox this and I'll show you a little bit more. I love this from Rick. Enjoy my koi. And there it says, look after them on the bag. So I've been well and truly told there. I don't know if you guys can see that. Look after them. Explanation mark. Brilliant. Yeah, look at the sumi already on some of these. Don't know if you guys can see that from the picture there. Bloody hell. Bloody hell. The moment of truth. Let's have a see. Let me get you in close. So these were a couple of fish that Rick had sent to me that I'd selected. Now these have travelled from literally the other side of England, so there's obviously a little bit of waste in the bag, but they've been in the car or in a van, transport van, for a very long time, so don't look at that. That's nothing to look at all. But this line is from original Omasako female, and you can really see with this particular line the sumi is quite predictable in the way that it sits in the skin, in my opinion. And this one in particular really to me resembles like a New Forest Koi Shiro. So it's got this awesome like black skin, like a luster on the skin as well, and it kind of comes up to the surface without showing much of what we would call like kage sumi. It just kind of comes on the top rather than coming all the time. So I'm hoping you guys can see that. But really awesome fish. With this one in particular, It's going to need a little bit more vision to see what I've kind of picked this for. Completely different from the other one. No head pattern on it currently, but you can still see that sumi under the skin in there. And they've got lovely luster, lovely skin luster, especially this one where you can see the sumi. But these are quite young fish. I think still Tosai turning Nisai this year. But, you know, hopefully we can get these up to, you know, a really lovely 50 cm next year. That's the plan, and keep the skin white. You know, with this one as well, another thing you want to look out for with Shiro Utsuri is the Motoguru in the pecs. So you can see there, just in the pec, and on the other side it's coming as well. So you can see that there, the Motoguru in the knuckle as well. But if I just flip these over, you've got no benny whatsoever. Looks like a female actually, that one. Yeah. Could be lucky and get away with that and have two females. But yeah, looking absolutely lovely, these two fish, and I'm really excited to see how they do in future. But let me see if I can get you even closer and show you a bit up close the reasons why they look so good to me. I think what's going to be most important is to really push these food-wise. You can see they've got lovely body structure, big heads, big shoulders. You know, they just need time, heat, and some good quality koi food now to really push these on. But it's just to show it, you know, if I saw these fish at a dealer's and they were listed as Omasako Tosai, I don't think I'd think twice about purchasing some of these fish. So, you know, for them to be bred in England and the price points they're available at is just unbelievable, so well worth looking into. So there we go, Rick, I know you'll be watching. They're in the grow on tank. I've got a few to move on from here, which I'll stick at the end of this video, but you can see both of them there. Kind of dwarfed by the other ones that are in there at the minute, but a lot to come from them, I think. And there's still some stunning koi in there that are for grubs for people. So yeah, awesome Shiros. I'm really excited to see what we do with them this year. If we can get them up to maybe, like I say, back end of next year, about 45-50 cm, something like that. That'll be the goal. Just delighted to be part of the story on them Shiros and see what happens. They'll settle in fine there. One of the benefits of having this net is when you're putting a new fish in, you're not necessarily worried about them jumping out or whatever. So it's been like a really nice feature of this pond. So yeah, in a 500 gallon system, being fed using this cat feeder, which I can control on an app. So yeah, if anybody's interested in this cat feeder, I mean, it cost me about less than £40, I think, delivered this, and it holds quite a consistent, you know, decent amount of food for a little grow on tank. The only thing is it is plugged in inside, and I run a cable around there, but you could always get yourself a bigger cable. And yeah, it just falls down. The pellets usually fall through the net. Sometimes you get a couple of stragglers. That's one of the only side effects of running a net like this. But really love this system, and it just shows, you know, with the koi, you can really see the growth that these guys have had this year. So if you want to see more about how I've grown these on Nutrimare, there is a video out on the channel, so check that out as well. Now, I'm fairly certain that you think that I was lying when I said I'm going to use balls to cover this pond, but that is incorrect. I am going to be using balls to cover this pond. So these balls are something that I've used on my main pond before, and I've written an article actually. God, it must have been nearly 2 years ago, so it's quite an old article. But I want to do a bit of a recap and obviously use them on this pond because I'm such a massive fan of this product. essentially, when you go into winter and you're heating a pond, this is actually unheated, but I'm going to be using it even still ambient just to keep the temperature in, or the little temperature that I do have, and to stop fluctuations as much from being so brutal on the koi. I use the pond balls on my main pond because I do heat through winter for my bigger, more expensive, more premium koi. So I only hold them at maybe 12 degrees over winter, but trying to keep that energy cost really down, because to heat a pond for somebody like me, it's so expensive. And so I did some tests last year, kind of looking at how expensive it was to heat it without the balls, and then I put the balls on and I monitored the day temperature versus the amount that I was spending, the weather temperature, and kind of did like a cost analysis, and it cut my energy cost down by around 75% through the night time. So it's a massive cost saving to use these balls. I know there's going to be a lot of people out there that just say use the polycarb sheets. This is absolutely not to say do not use polycarb sheets. Don't use other forms of covering your pond. If you've got a greenhouse, that's absolutely fine. You don't need anything like this. But for me, I wanted to get something. Number one, I have no idea where in this garden I can store polycarb sheets that are long enough to cover my pond. I can't put them in the loft. My loft hatch is too small, and I have to lug them through the house. I don't have anywhere behind a shed. I'm in a new build estate where I am, and I don't have a huge garden. So these balls can go in my loft. I can put them back in this cardboard box at the end of the year and put them up in the loft. They're kind of a bit more of a well-rounded product, in my opinion. The cost savings are 75%. I'm just happy with that. So these are the balls. So they're not circular, they're not playpen balls. These are the two main common misconceptions that come with these. These are kind of ovular shaped, or ovular, I don't know what the right word is, but essentially they sit on the pond like this, and they interconnect in such a way that has very little gaps between the balls. The flat bottom sits in the water and almost like sticks to the water, so the wind cannot get underneath them and lift them out. And I think one of the main, again, I'm gonna maybe put my foot in my mouth with it, but these balls, when the water is hotter than the exterior, it almost like acts as a blanket. When these balls, when the air inside heats up, and almost acts like a blanket on top of the pond. I know a lot of you out there might know that these are used also in big lakes in America to stop and prevent evaporation in some of the big lakes in America. So essentially, keeping evaporation from happening. One of the big things when you heat a koi pond, if you're heated out there and you're listening to this, is you'll come out on a winter's day and see your money evaporating into the sky through evaporation, and seeing your electricity bill soaring. So these are literally designed to prevent evaporation. I do believe that's a core thing of keeping your costs down as well. The other thing with these is if a fish jumps through these, it's not going to damage your koi, and you can still feed through them. You can still create a feeding ring. It's not like when you put your covers down, you're going to prevent from ever seeing your fish ever again. And I'm going to show you on my main pond how much my fish enjoy feeding through them. It's not like they're scared of them. They get used to them. For the first couple of the days, they're like, what the hell is this, obviously. But these balls, really like them. And I'm going to be putting the blue ones. I asked about them. I wanted to know if the coloured ones, being coloured, I wanted to know if they'd still get the same amount of sun penetration, because I didn't want to get coloured ones just for the sake of it, to keep them separate from my main pond. I want to keep them a different colour. I have the clear ones on my main pond, so I'm going to have blue on this grown tank. So I wanted to ask the question if these have the same UV penetration as the other ones, and they do. So even though these are coloured, they have the same UV penetration. So the fish still gets the sunlight, so you're not going to get benny failure, you're not going to get huge colour loss on the koi. So these have the same UV penetration. And again, I'm not going to be heating this grown pond through winter just because I can't afford it, to be honest. And so this is essentially just to keep the temperature swings down and to stop it from freezing over as well. So these balls are going to go on. The fish are going to love them. I've got this net on anyway, so there's going to be no balls flying around, but you don't need this net. Trust me, guys, I live in an extremely windy area, and it's very rare that I might have 1 or 2 balls come off in a week, but they're not flying off in the wind. You'd have to live in a seriously windy area to get these to come off, because you've got to think, if these are flat on the bottom, the wind has got to get underneath and lift it up. You see, if they were circular and like this and there were a really flat edge for the wind to come at them, I'd understand that kind of concept, but these sit flat on the water. And by the way, I'm not on commission for these balls. Yes, Euromatic advertise in my magazine, but these are a product that I've been buying before I even had a magazine, and that's the truth, the God's honest truth. I really like this product. And fish jump, that's just a thing. Winter is the worst time of year for a koi to get opportunistic parasites, and for water parameters, sometimes in some cases when your filtration's not at its most powerful. So if a fish jumps through these, you are safe in the knowledge they're not going to damage or take a chunk out of the skin like they would on a polycarbonate sheet. So that's just my opinion. If you use polycarbonate sheets, you do you, I'll do me. Get the balls. Let me grab some koi food. So excuse my window. It's got a bit of algae on it, but they don't seem phased at all by these balls, do they? And look at that, there's hardly any algae on these balls whatsoever. And do you know what? I see them all day, all the time, going around the pond and looking for pellets in between them all. It's almost like a game for the fish, but do you know what? It stops them being inactive through winter, just through feeding. And as you can see, I've gone for the clear balls, and occasionally I'll come out and just put the gaps in where they've been feeding more than anything. If you're not feeding them through winter, then you generally don't need to do this, but I just like to do it because I'm thinking 5 pence, 10 pence saved. Do you know what I mean? Because I'm a Yorkshireman at heart. But really, I don't know, guys. Like, let me know down in the comments, what do you think? What do you think of this? I know that Euromatic are leading the way, and like I said, don't go out and get the playpen balls because they do leach chemicals into the water. Like, these are food grade. These really are designed for this purpose. That's why I like to get the proper Euromatic balls, and they have a calculator online so you can calculate how many balls you need for a certain amount of surface area. So yeah, I just thought you guys would find that interesting. And for you guys that have been following along, this is the Sankey that's been in my growing pond, probably up nearly 50 cm now. Doing really well. That's one that I moved over from the growing tank. Settled in really nicely. I did have to do a parasite treatment as soon as I moved it in here. It kind of reacted a little bit differently to different pathogens in the water. And where is it? This Ginrin shower, which had quite a nasty split in its peck, if you'll remember from that video I did with Dave at Eden Koi Pond and Simon from Up North Koi Pond and Dan from Nutrimare. But it's healed really nicely and coming on a real treat, that fish. Body shape's looking really good and it's a really good feeder, but you can just see that water clarity in here is phenomenal. And turned off my backy shower this year, so that's, you know, not had an effect. But I do love this big Kanishi bloodline Karashi, and she's lovely. But yeah, really excited about this. And like I say, apologies for the glare on the window from the algae. I hope you guys have enjoyed that. Yeah, I'm a bit of a nuisance for cleaning my window. It's one of the jobs I don't enjoy doing. I don't like stressing them out. Like when I put the brush in the pond, they go off the food. I think they just think it's something unusual for them, and I don't want to always be sticking a brush on the window, you know, to spook them out all the time. So, you know, for me, it's not a big deal to have a green window through winter and just come out and check them every day. So yeah, hope you've enjoyed that, and I hope that you guys will consider the pond balls as well. Like I say, it's a product I'm really keen on, so check them out. So one of the big products I've used this year on this growing tank has been the complete pond detox. Like, going through new pond syndrome on this tank was an absolute, you know, breeze compared to like what it was on my main pond. But this product, I really found that I could feed the fish even through new pond syndrome. And a couple of magazine readers have reached out to me and really struggled to do the ammonia cycle. And to be honest, it shouldn't be a thing that we, you know, almost like worry about. You know, changing water shouldn't be risky, and this product I used it every week. Just put in a dose and essentially kept feeding through it, allowing the pond to cycle and to detoxify, not remove. Like a lot of people, what I see on the internet say, well, I've put the detox in and I've still got a nitrite reading. But detox doesn't remove nitrite, it detoxifies it. So it turns it into a non-toxic element for the koi. So essentially, guys, if you're using a detoxing product and then doing an ammonia test or doing a nitrite test, you're thinking about it the wrong way. There will still be nitrite, there will still be ammonia, but it'll be detoxified. What I think we've got to start doing as English koi keepers, as European koi keepers, is stop looking at parameters and start analysing behaviour. And I know I'm a broken record on that, but we've got to start looking at koi's behaviour and stop looking at parameters. And you know, if you look and see you've got a nitrite reading, take out complete pond detox for a second. This is not an advert for complete pond detox. This is literally what I've done this year. If you're looking at your parameters and you see a nitrite reading and then you stop feeding altogether, your system will just stop the nitrification cycle. It'll run out of food for the bacteria to keep growing and keep colonizing in your media, in your plastic media, ceramic media, whatever it is. It will stop colonizing. If you stop feeding, you've got to find a way to detoxify the nitrite specifically, and whether that's salt, whether that's complete pond detox, whether it's any other detox, find one that works for you and use it weekly, and use it during your water changes as well, so you're getting rid of heavy metals and that kind of stuff. And these fish, I grew them 1 centimetre a week, 1 cm a week. That's one fish did 15 cm in 90 days, 15 cm in 90 days, and I did that through new pond syndrome. So if I can do it, and I'm a bad koi keeper, let me tell you, I'm not a good koi keeper, you can do it too. Now, this grow on tank, as you guys will have watched on this channel, if you haven't already, go back and watch it. I had Andrew up from Burton's at the to the pond to help me install this, and this is the only filtration I have. It's one of the biggest filtration setups you could possibly have for a 500-gallon system, but this is a combi drum, the BD 150 I believe it is, and essentially I've not even had to add any more media into this system, and you can see the coloration in there has really matured quite fast. You know, there's a little bit of dirt in the back there. This kind of stuff really doesn't bother me at all. But you can see like a little bit of debris in there as well, but this stuff really doesn't bother me. It's not like a muck or an excrement. I think a lot of it is just biological film as well, to be honest. So the fish have really thrived in this system, and it does go to show you don't need a backy shower to raise a fish a cm a week, a tosi and a cm a week. This is literally just the Burton's media, and there's a mix of medias in here if I just grab it. So you can see there's like the bigger pieces and the smaller pieces in here. I think some of this is better for ammonia and some of this is better for nitrite, but it's matured really, really well, really fast. One of the reasons being is I think that my new pond syndrome cycling practice this year with the detoxing powder has really, this system has really thrived under that. I've not really added much potassium in here, so a lot of this is not potassium staining either. I think I did 1 pp treatment. It wasn't a double dose or anything like that. It was just a regular dose when I added some new koi. So this is just biofilm, really strong biofilm, and at the temperature it's at now, which is under 10 degrees, it's still really strong as well. So would highly recommend the Burton's drum. These guys are always a phone call away, so if you ever have an issue with any of the products, you can get hold of them as soon as possible. One of the things I am wondering, guys, would you be interested in me? I know this works, so this is a tick in the box now, but would you be interested in me taking all of this out and shifting towards ceramic media just to see what happens? Again, let me know in the comments, see if that's something you're interested in. We can have a go with that next year. One of the other products that I've tested this year was this hot tub heater. This heater, which is a 1 kilowatt heater, cost me a grand total of £45. £45. I think the equivalent of this with a koi sticker on it is nearly £200. It is just not. It has done everything that I expect from a little inline heater. The only thing I would say is when you're heating in the cold temperatures up to like 20 degrees, if you're trying to grow your fish, this thing will cost you the earth. I think some days when it was really cold out, like now, if I turned it on to heat this pond up to 20 degrees in what, 5-6 degree weather, this would cost me nearly £15-16 a day to run. I can't do it. I can't justify it. So if you want to heat through winter, you're going to have to look at an air source heat pump or a boiler system, a gas system. These inline heaters are great to an extent, but for 45 quid, hasn't missed a beat at all, and it does what it says on the tin, and it doesn't have the koi tax. So if you want to search it, it's just an inline. Make sure the heating element in it is stainless steel and salt safe, and that should do you. The other thing as well, I've been using an Evolution Aqua Vary pump here, and you can see I'm not even running this on full capacity. I'm running a 10,000 at 40%. No, what am I? That's 40 watts. I'm running it at 50%, so about 5,000 litres an hour. And again, not skipped a beat, doesn't cost me the world. And these guys, these products are something I just will not be without now. The aeration systems, the air bar that I fitted in this main pond, which you can't see now because I've got the balls on, but the aeration products that these guys have fitted have been an absolute life changer. And even though I've had really slow flow through this pump, the air bar through the air pump into the air bar in there has really helped increase the flow in the pond, and I think the fish love it as well. So I'm going to have some discussions about what we're going to do in the main pond next year, do some changes in the main pond that almost like, you know, essentially copy what I've done in the ground pond this year. So look out for that and go and check these guys out if you're interested in any aeration parts. So there we go, that about wraps it up, to be honest. That's about my winter prep. It's as simple as that, really, guys. Check your fish over, make sure you're going into winter with no parasites. I know that we're almost in winter now, so this is a little bit late, but having been in Japan, this was the best time I could make this vlog. I'm really undecided as to what next year is going to be for the testing tank. You know, what koi foods I'm going to be using is one of the big things I'm trying to decide at the minute. And yeah, I want to know what you guys want to see. What products do you want to see me test this year? What have you enjoyed me testing? The Nutrimare thing was a huge thing this year. I have to say a massive thank you to Dan for coming up here. And I want to let people know I did actually pay for that food. I think people think that I was just giving it for free, but I actually paid for the Nutrimare food, and so it was an honest review. I'm not sure what I'm going to do next year. I mean, I had massive, great results on the growing tank with my Tosai this year, and I almost want to see what else I can do to benchmark against Nutrimare. But having reached out to many of the food brands in England, it's really difficult to get them to interact with an independent publication like mine. I'm not sure why that is. At least with Dan at Nutrimare, he's willing to put his neck on the line to promote his business, to promote his food brand. And I really enjoyed doing that and, you know, talking about it in the podcast and things. And I've offered the exact same thing to many other food brands in England with literally no response, or it's just a flat no. So I don't know what to do, because I know you guys will want to see me test a load more food. But I'd really like the brands to be involved. I'd like them to come on my podcast. I'd like them to come up for a Tosai harvest. And again, put their neck on the line the same way that Dan has done it from Nutrimare. I think it's only fair, and I think it's what you guys deserve, and the dealers that are stocking all these products as well. One of the things I don't understand is many of these koi dealers are expected to buy bags on bags on bags of koi food, stick it on the shelves, and then a lot of the food brands are not even like putting content out about their own products. How does that make sense? You guys want to know why you should spend all this money on koi food, and like I say, the only one that's been approachable about the subject really has been Dan at Nutrimare. So this is a call out. What an opportunity to come on here and potentially put your brand in a leading place and to position yourself really well amongst hobbyists, and like I say, give it a good whirl, like Dan at Nutrimare is, and he's been so successful this year. So there's such a big opportunity. I want to do loads more with approaching brands, and I'm really thankful to everybody who's reached out and maybe hasn't been a part of it as well. And I know that there's a lot of people out there that I've had to let down this year about wanting to do some promotion, some testing on their products. So let's see what next year brings. And I want to say a massive thank you for you guys for watching along with this series. Let's see what we can do next year with Rick Shiro's. I've got some fish from Japan coming on the Aqua Group shipment, so look out for that. I'll do a vlog on that with Greg. And see what food we're going to test. And I'll leave you, I'm going to put at the end of this video some of the fish that I have for sale from a growing tank. So if you want to reach out to me, my email will be down in the description below. If you're interested, I can keep these fish through to spring, but essentially I just need to move them on now because I need to make some room for some new projects, because I don't want to be raising some Nisai now in through to Sansai in a 500-gallon system. So these fish need to go now, but serious quality, decent prices. All right, guys, thanks for watching, and I'll see you soon.